Good morning guys, and welcome to this edition of Hikerpedia. I'm out on the west coast this morning for another exploration on my Brommy. So let's put it together and let's get going. So if you hadn't already figured it out, I'm in West Coast Park. I've been in Singapore for a few years now and I live in Bahru, and honestly I've not really ventured over to the West Coast that often. In fact, up until recently the only thing I knew about the West Coast was that Geelong had a bird park and a frog farm, and then I found out the frog farm wasn't even in Geelong. But seriously, I'd never even been to West Coast Park up until a couple of weeks ago when I did my Round Island walk. So I thought I'd come back and explore a bit more in the west. And to be honest, I'm a little bit out of my comfort zone. I just finished watching The Wire. Yeah, I know I'm about 10 years behind everybody else. I feel a bit like the prop Joe of Angmores over in Avon Barksdale's territory, so I got to be careful out here. But still, my first impressions of West Coast Park are pretty good. It's not too bad, although it's a little bit noisy being surrounded by the main road on one side and the port on the other side. Okay guys, so we're done at West Coast Park. It's been an enjoyable couple of hours and having a look around. So to summarize, I'd like to compare East Coast Park to West Coast Park. My hood to the west side, so to speak. So let's go. East Coast Park has restaurants. West Coast Park has family restaurants. East Coast Park has a beach. West Coast Park has an inland beach. East Coast Park has playgrounds for kids. West Coast Park has playground for kids and dogs and a dog wash. East Coast Park has ships. West Coast Park has ships but closer. East Coast Park has panoramic views of the ocean. West Coast Park has panoramic views of a container port. So to summarize, if you've got kids, go to East Coast Park. If you've got dogs, go to West Coast Park. I'm joking, okay? Both places are pretty good, to be honest, although I'd have to say West Coast Park is a tad noisier than East Coast Park. But anyway, it's still a fun place. So let's head off to our next destination. I'm here on probably what is one of the biggest tourist attractions on the west coast. It's Haw Pa Villa, which, in case you didn't know, was built by the guy who brought Tiger Balm to the world. There's a few clues in the decorations around here. I probably should go inside, but I think that this place probably deserves a video dedicated to it on its own, because it's a pretty interesting place and there's a bit of history, etc, etc. Plus, I've never been here before and I know absolutely nothing about the place, so we're not going to go in today. We'll give it a pass and we'll revisit it in the future. That is a very thin house. I just hope it's wide. Alright, I'm here at today's second destination, which is Labrador Nature Reserve. Now, I like this place for a few reasons. Number one is that it's named after a big, soft, fluffy dog. And number two, it's probably the quietest park in Singapore, because it's quite far away from any roads and it's very close to the coast on the other side, so it's super quiet here, and it's a nice place. There's a number of other reasons to like this place. I mean, number one, it's pretty much got something for everyone, in that there's a lot of places where the kids can play. It's nice and shady, and there's also like a historical aspect to the park, which we'll go and investigate in a moment. And there's also a hell of a lot of chickens here for some reason. Maybe I can go find some eggs. And you can also barbecue here when we're not in the middle of a global pandemic anyway. So let's go and check it out. It's kind of interesting story behind this rock behind me. It's known as Long Yamen, as a Dragon's Tooth Gate, and for centuries it was used as a navigation tool by explorers. That was until the British blew it up. This is a recreation of the original, taken from paintings that still existed. Bloody British. This place also has some sentimental value to me as well, as it's the first park we ever came to after we moved to Singapore, back when my kids were still cute. Quite interesting looking at the remnants of the batteries that they had on the hills protecting the harbours around Singapore. I would imagine, in combination with Fort Siloso on Sentosa, this place would have made it quite difficult for any ships to land on the southern part of the island during World War II, which is probably why the Japanese decided to come from the north via Malaya. This place is also interesting because you can also read on these boards about why the defense of Singapore when the Japanese invaded was such a disaster. It's pretty interesting. I think I'm just about done in Labrador Nature Park now. I'm feeling a bit hungry, which is pretty good because there's also a fancy restaurant just behind me and a spa. Although I think it's probably a bit beyond my budget, so I think I'll head to the nearest hawker centre. Okay guys, don't judge me on this one. I'm kind of playing devil's advocate. One, because I've never seen this kind of dish before in Singapore, and two, because I just wanted to try it and maybe spark a debate. This is shark meat lormi or lumian, and it's the first time I've ever seen shark meat in Singapore. Of course we have shark's fins, but I never eat that because of ethical reasons. I've tried it once before when I was in Taiwan a long time ago, before I knew what it was, and then ever since that I've never eaten shark's fin, but this is shark's meat, so it's kind of, is it ethical? I'm not sure. I mean, is tuna ethical? You guys decide. So let's give it a try anyway. White meat inside, and there's a lot of batter. To be honest, it doesn't really have much taste. You can taste the batter more than the fish. But apart from the shark meat, you've got pork belly, boiled egg, pork skin, some crispy wonton maybe, I have no idea what this is, some fish cake, and of course noodles. Would you eat shark meat? Let me know in the comments. I'd also like to give a shout out to the drink store here at this market. I got this for just $3. It's apple, carrot and beetroot juice, freshly squeezed, and it's really good. And it's a huge glass, only $3. To be honest, the noodles and the sauce are pretty bland, but because you've got so many pieces of meat and skin and fish and garlic and things like that, it's actually quite nice. And it's a huge bowl of food for just $4. Not sure if I could finish it. Alright, so I just finished my shark meat noodles. The big fuss about sharks is the fact that people take the fins and then just leave the carcass. So by eating the meat, does that make it okay? I don't know. What do you think? Some people say that sambal stingray is not an ethical dish anymore because they catch so many and they're endangered too. So I mean, You could say the same about tuna and so many other animals these days. But it's food for thought, excuse the pun. Got 2 more places to visit until the West Coast tour is finished, so let's get cracking. Okay guys, the next place I wanted to take you to was this place, Tiong Temple. It's a Taoist temple. There's not too much information about it online. I'll put a link in the description. I think the artwork at the front of these immortals was created by the same guy who did the Villa down the road. The only thing that's not so great about this temple is the location. It's right on the main road here, and there's a flyover there, so it's really noisy. Yeah, I don't think I can film inside either, which sucks. So I'm going to go inside and have a look. Okay, so I had a look around inside the temple, and it's pretty interesting. It's good they've got a few English descriptions in there so you can learn a little bit about the gods and stuff. It's definitely worth 5-10 minutes of your time if you're passing by. Plus it's really colourful, and you can take some nice photos of the exterior. Not inside though, okay? Let's be off to the next place. Now the final place on my itinerary for today is this beautifully coloured temple behind me. It's another Taoist temple, and it's called Koon Ting, and it was built by a woman specifically for women, and especially girls who were abandoned by their families. Remember, Chinese culture, boys were more valued over girls, and so sometimes in the old days families would just get rid of the female babies that they didn't want. So here they had somewhere to go and someone to look after them. I'm not sure if I can go inside and have a look around, but let's go find out.
Okay?
Yeah.
You got it. Very old. Because
okay guys, that was probably the best part of the day so far. I walked into the temple, and there's an old guy, Mr. Ko, who's the custodian of the temple, and he basically just gave me a 20-minute free guided tour of the temple, telling me all about the gods and the history of the temple, and it was really interesting. And he also gave me a free bottle of water as well. So that's a really great end to the day, and my last destination, which is Koon Ting. So I'm heading back towards the MRT now, and then back home. Okay guys, so we've come to the end of our West Coast adventure. We hit West Coast Park, we hit Labrador Nature Reserve, we hit a couple of temples, and we took in some food. And it's been pretty hot today, so I'm pretty tired. So that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give me a like and subscribe if you'd like to see my future content. And if you really can't live without me, then you can always hit notifications. I'm back off home now for a nice rest and a drink, and I'll see you next time. Take it easy. Over and out.